G'day guys and welcome back to another deck profile. Today we're bringing you the updated Kaido list that we are running. So this is updated with the film starter deck card, so a few little changes here and there, and a few changes from our last Kaido deck in terms of other purple stuff that we are running. But if you guys do like the video, please hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and leave a comment down in the comment section below letting us know what you think of the deck. If you like it, anything you do different. But yeah, love to hear what you think. But let's get right into the deck profile. Alright, kicking us off, we're going to have a look at our leader, Kaido. For those that don't know, Kaido is a 5,005 life mono purple color leader. The main effect is activate once per turn. Don -7, you can trash the top card of your opponent's life. So, great way to apply pressure, especially if you're just focused on clearing board, controlling your opponent's board presence. Great way to still apply some life pressure on your opponent. And the trash is great because it doesn't go to their hands, so they don't get an extra counter, or there's no chance of a trigger activating either. First of all, having a look at our characters, as per usual, lowest play cost to highest. We're going to start with some of our blockers. We've got 4 of the Higurashi, and we've got 2 of the Black Maria. So both of these guys are similar stats. They both have a 1k counter, both 2 cost to play. But the Higurashi we are running more of because it has that higher DP compared to the Black Maria, the 3000 versus the 2000. Now the reason why we want to run more of that is because it just makes it easier if we want to go for an extra swing. If we're not needing the blocker next turn, we have to pop 2 Don under instead of the 3. So it just makes our resource management a lot better. Next up for our 3 drops, we are first of all running 4 of the Sasaki. So Sasaki, 2k counter, so super valuable to have in hand. Stats are really good, 4000 power, nice big presence. Only have to pop 1 under to get a swing at leader. Helps you swing over those little guys as well that are a bit annoying for you. But the main effect is Don ×1. When attacking, you may trash 1 card from your hand, add a Don card from your Don deck unrested. So a great form of ramp in terms of our Don if we don't see our Onigashima Island. So it can be useful in that way, but most of the time it is used as a 2k counter. The other 3 drop that we are running 2 Who's Who. Now we've cut this down a little bit. Still a super valuable card. It's on plays we can Don -1 to KO something with a cost of 3 or less. So really good at getting rid of all those little blockers that are out there in case you need to swing for game. Also really good to control board presence for those boards that like to go wide, looking at you law. Also really handy to remove a lot of those rush cards in red. It's going to hit all of them except for that starter deck Luffy and the promo Luffy, those bigger ones. But yeah, great way to control that sort of pressure that your opponent puts on as well. I do have to mention Who's Who is a trigger card, so when it's hit in life you can activate the effect straight away. So it can also stop a few attacks in a turn as well if it's hit in life. Next up for our 4 drops, we are running 4 ulti. So ulti is mainly in there as a 2k counter, but it is a 5k body, which can be good if we are just needing to get some bodies out to control the board, to get some extra swings in if we need to be a bit more aggressive. The effect we're not going to get off because we're not playing any page 1s, so mainly 2k counter or just a 5k body. The other 4 drop that we are running 2 of the Uta blocker from the film starter deck. So 5k body, it is also a 1k counter and a blocker, so great bit of defense boost for the deck. The effect is on block we can Don -1 to rest up to one of our opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. That's absolutely massive. So we're resting a majority of the things that are out there. It's probably not super great going into the mirror match, which is why we're not running heaps of them, but it's really good into your green, your red, your blues. There's a lot of things that are 5 cost or less that we can rest, especially with boards that like to go wide, stops from multiple attacks happening. And if your opponent's not thinking too much about it, you can rest things that need to require resting for effect activation. Moving on to the 5 drops, let's start with our old buddy Queen. So Queen, 1k counter, 6k body, massive, also a blocker. So we've got quite a few blockers in this iteration of Kaido. The on-play effect is we can Don -1 to draw 2 and then trash 1. So not a lot of cards right now get you that draw advantage. Queen is a great one, staple in purple decks right now. Also helps you get rid of cards that are not going to be useful for you in certain matchups, maybe some of your big boys, which will not be great into the game that you're playing. So you got to think about if you want to have the 7 drop or the 6 drop king, which one's going to be better for your matchup. If you're going against those boards with that guy to go wide, like your Law or your Zoro with lots of little guys, the 7 drop is going to be better. But things against me like blue or other things like that, you're wanting the other one. So you can filter out your hand like that. You can also filter out those extra Onigashima Islands that you may not need. Yeah, it just helps you find more of those counters, more of those key pieces for your matchups. Next up, we are also running 4 of X-Drake. So X-Drake, 5k body, 2k counter, which is what it is mainly used for, but the on-play can also be quite useful. It is a Don -1, your opponent trashes 1 card from their hand. So a great way to control your opponent's hand size, especially when their hand size is small already. We can just keep it small. And this effect does come up in quite a few games that I have played, so that's why we're bumping X-Drake up to 4. The last of our 5 drops, we are running 2 of the Babanuki. So Babanuki Vanilla, 7k body, also a 1k counter. Just great way to get some big boys out there early. You can bump this up. I have tried this with 3, have tried it with 2. Both seem to work great. Just in this current build, I had to pull one out just to fit in some other cool text, which we'll talk about. But yeah, there's plenty of builds out there that run more of these, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that there. Right, moving on to the Kings. We are first of all just running 3 of the 6 drop 7k King. So this one is on play Don -1. We can KO 1 of our opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. So yeah, really good, especially into blue. There's a lot of blockers that cost 4 or less, a lot of things that cost 4 or less, so great way to get some good removal in there. Green has some things as well in that 4 cost threshold. It is probably the better king out of the 2, which is why we're running more of this king than the other king. Speaking of the other guy, we are running 2 of the 7 cost kings, so same power there of 7,000, but the on play is Don -2 instead of 1. That we can KO 1 character with the cost of 3 or less and another character with the cost of 2 or less. So as I've said before, this card is really good into boards that like to go wide with lots of little guys. Law, your green with all those searches, all those little blockers that can be annoying. Great way to get some widespread removal going on. Next up for our A cost, we are running 1 of the promo Kaido, the promo 10 Kaido. It is a 9,000 body, no counter, but end of your turn, add 1 Don card from your Don deck in an active position. So a great way to kind of ramp, but also allows you to use some of your event cards. Depending on how many Don you leave yourself, you're always going to have 1 at the end, so there's at least 1 of your events will always be live. So a great way to apply some ramping pressure. Especially, I find this card really useful in the mirror. The other 8 drop that we are running just 1 of Douglas Bullet. So Douglas is from the film starter deck. It is a 8 cost, 10,000 body, no counter. The effect is really good though. So activate main once per turn, Don -4. We can rest up to 2 of our opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less. Then this character gains double attack during this turn. So absolutely wild. So just for 4 Don, you're resting 2 things. You're resting every blocker in the game except for the starter deck kid. So no worries about any blockers there. You can rest multiple characters that you want to clear to survive or make sure their effects don't trigger. But then that double attack is also massive. Double attack at 10,000 is absolutely wild. And with you resting blockers, it is more likely that this will go through. So a great way to apply some pressure, especially if you've been very defensive with your early on plays. If you don't want to run any of these guys, a couple options for you. You can run an extra 6 drop king. You can run an extra Babanuki, vanilla 7k body, or you can run an extra 10k board wipe Kaido. So any of those options are great if you don't want to run any of these, but these are kind of the spicy decks that we are running here in this deck. Next up, we are running 2 of the Rush Kaido. So 9 cost, 10,000 body. On play, Don -5, KO a character with a cost of 6 or less, so great form of removal. We're hitting a lot of things there. But then we also gain Rush when we activate this effect. So great way to clear something, swing at life, clear something, swing for game, like clearing a blocker, swinging for game. Also, we can clear a character, then swing into another character if we want to go more of that board control route with this guy. And rounding off our characters, we are running 2 of the big boy himself, the 10 drop 12k board wipe Kaido. So on play, Don -6, KO every character on the field, including on your side, except for this guy. So great way to clear out those boards that are applying a lot of pressure, those boards that are super wide. Yeah, so really great. Just make sure you play this when you have some sort of defense available to you with this. You got some life or a lot of counter characters in your hand. Otherwise, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Don't do it. Okay, moving on to our events. We are running 4 Blast Breath. So Blast Breath, super good. Cost you 1 as a counter. You have to Don -1 as well though, but one of your leaders or characters gains 4,000 power for this battle. So that 4,000 buff for just 1 is absolutely wild. That Don -1 can easily be recovered with your Onigashima Island, so no need to worry about that. But just a great form of defense. The next counter that we are running 2 Thunder Balga. So 2 cost counter, something gets a 4,000 buff, and then if we have 2 or less life cards, we can add a Don card from our Don deck in a rested position. Trigger for this, we can add a Don card in a in an active position. So great form of a ramp early on if we see it in life. The next event that we are running a 1 Lion's Thread Imperial Earthbind. So this is from the starter deck. It is a 3 cost. Don -2, we can KO a character with a cost of 5 or less. So great form of removal there. Does hit quite a few things, and it is a fairly low cost, only requiring 3, but you do have to minus those 2 Dons, so just make sure you're factoring that into your maths. The final card that we are running the card that you're usually mulliganing for, which is Onigashima Island. So 3 cost event, activate main. We can rest this stage card. If your leader is Animal Kingdom Pirates, which Kaido is, we can add a Don card rested. Great way to replenish those Don that we use for our draw power or our removal or our opponent's hand control, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, super great card. That's what you are mulliganing for. If you don't see it, you can win. It is a bit more of a struggle, a bit more of a grind if you don't, because you can't ramp as quickly and still board control. But yeah, very, very possible to win without this card. Alright guys, there is the deck in all of its glory. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Let us know if there's any other decks you want to see us profile here on the channel. But thank you so much for checking out today's video and for all of your support. Stay beautiful, and we'll see you all in the next one.